Today, I'm critiquing the penthouse at the highest residential tower in Upper East Side, New York, and then I'm going to give it an Arvin score at the end of the video. So if you ever decide to buy, remodel, or design a penthouse, you won't make the same mistake. I'm Arvin Haddad. I'm the guy who makes sure you have the highest resale value when you buy, design, or build your dream home. Let's watch this video together.
I am standing on the loggia of a $33 million sky mansion. You heard that right, this is a sky mansion. Now on my channel, we've seen some of the most luxurious apartments in New York City, but we have seen nothing like this one. And with that, this apartment has 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It is 5,508 square feet of interior living space with an additional 3,501 square feet of outdoor space.
Okay, 3 things. First, this penthouse ended up selling for $24.7 million. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why. Second, did you know what they had to pull to make sure this is the tallest building in Upper East Side, perhaps forever? They pulled a little trick. Let me explain. On the 88th Street, there was a limitation. If you have frontage over there, you can't build as high as you would want. But they somehow sectioned off a portion of the lot. I don't know, they gave it away, they sold it to somebody else, but they pulled some trick or loophole in the game to not have frontage on the 88th Street, which it would kind of detach them from the regulation so they could go higher and higher. There was a lawsuit, the residents or the building planners won, and they were able to build the highest building in Upper East Side. And third, if you want to support this channel for free, I would really appreciate if you subscribe, and I'm committed to making 3 videos a week. I try very hard to do it. I would really appreciate your help. Let's continue watching.
We are just going to give you a raw New York City apartment tour. Right off your private elevators, we enter the great room of this penthouse.
Okay, they're starting the tour. Let me go over the layout so you won't get confused. First, you got 2 elevators that open into the unit, which is definitely necessary for a penthouse. And you enter the formal living area. Now, this area has really good high ceilings, but it's not the double or triple height ceiling of the space right next to it. And this space connects to a very good sized terrace and also another family room on this side with a fireplace that has a powder room and a separate terrace on the other side. Now, on the other side of the spiral staircase, you've got a big size dining area, and that connects to a really big size corner kitchen, which also connects to a little den. And on the end of the property on this side, you have a bedroom, a bathroom, and a laundry area. And guess what? You also have an internal elevator to connect the first floor to the second floor and to a very, very good rooftop that is exclusive to your unit.
As you can see, we have those views to the south with tons of light flooding into the space.
Yeah, you know, for someone who is not full-time in real estate, you know, way too much.
I've seen a lot of places. I want to point this out. Wait, Bailey, come over here. So
yeah, if you try to open it, you can a little bit.
So these are doors?
This is not door per se.
Everyone on TikTok was like, why is there a door leading out to nothing? Yeah. So this is a window that looks like a door. You have the floor stopper there.
It's freshening the air in the apartment. And also, even without that thing, the door itself, the structure won't let you open it.
No.
Okay, I don't care about this door or breezeway, whatever it is. What I want you to pay attention to is ceiling heights, okay? Right here where they're standing is 13 foot high. To me, that's ultra luxury. That's really, really good, especially for a penthouse. Now, keep that in mind because when we go to an area where it doubles up, see if it's necessary. Or they should have possibly closed that off and added an upstairs living area. Pay attention, it's coming up.
So this apartment's pretty unique for a bunch of reasons, the high ceilings, but also the fact we're facing south. So you have the first living room, second sitting area, and then check this out. Corner terrace under a 30-foot high loggia. So if you pan up, you can see the perspective of, look how high this loggia is.
It is, and also the coolest part is that you have a second floor, and there's going to be a third floor, which you cannot see from now.
And this is actually the highest residential apartment in all of the Upper East Side, so your views are unobstructed. This is an architectural masterpiece, and the facade was handmade and hand-laid with brick all the way from Denmark. And it's really from these shots that you can see how this looks like a villa that's just floating in the sky above New York City.
Okay, we're going to talk about the views very soon, but I want to focus on the architectural style of this building because it's very interesting. You know how interracial marriages produce really beautiful kids? In this case, it didn't. It's an anomaly, okay? Let me explain. Look, there are two parts of this building that is very Barcelona, Antoni Gaudi, those arches, those elements. But then the rest of it is very Jenny from the Bronx, right? It's kind of got that Harlem, Bronx, project vibe and energy. It just didn't mesh really well. And I'm very grateful it's not a, all glass building. It's going to score better than those, but it could have been better.
And then if you look straight downtown, you can see the rest of the Upper East Side, even the East River.
The almost panoramic views, it's like 270 degrees.
Another living room here. Again, 13-foot ceilings, gas fireplace here. Should we take them out? There's actually another terrace.
There's another terrace.
So if you spin around here, yeah, let's head on out.
There's a lot of terraces to see.
Now we have our northern views looking up into Harlem, and you can even see all the way up to the George Washington Bridge. But you can definitely see a better view from those drone shots of just the terrace space in this triplex. Triplex? Is it triplex or triplex?
They just call it duplex.
No, there's 3 floors.
No, it's a duplex with a rooftop. But did you see the obvious flaw over here? I'm going to pause the frame and give you 3 seconds. I always pause the frame and ask my subscribers to spot a flaw because it's a muscle you have to exercise. 3, 2, 1. You have 2 living rooms right next to each other. That's really, really redundant, okay? Why would you go from this living room, which is very similar to this other living room, right after each other? And you didn't define a, identity or a purpose for either one of them. Like that coat closet for that one could have been a built-in bar, right? Like that would have been a good opportunity to give you a formal living space, some sort of a functionality, and they didn't. They just put 2 formal living spaces next to each other. I don't know why.
Erik, which part is your favorite?
Staircase.
Mine was window. Anyway, let's go.
The window?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at both this. So you have a staircase, a wraparound staircase that goes up. If you look in here, these are 30-foot ceilings in the dining room with this winding staircase all the way up to the top floor. And then behind us here, those old kind of Tribeca lofts, how you have the half-moon windows? This is that futuristic take on a 30-foot half-moon window with views of New York City. This is crazy.
It's amazing. So the arch window, you almost never have those in New York. And also I didn't mention this before. So there was a book called The Metropolises of the Future, written in 1929. So that book, almost a century ago, influenced the way they designed this building.
Okay, that's really cool, but disappointing on the execution of the interior designers, and I'll tell you why. Why is it all white inside? Like, you have the biggest windows, most beautiful windows. And why didn't you bring some sort of an architectural element, like an Art Deco or wood panel? Like, do something. It's so overexposed with white. Look, when you really have high ceilings and a lot of natural light on a penthouse on the highest floor that is not getting blocked by any other building around it, right? You can go a little darker. You can add a little bit more character to match that architectural style of the building. And that's perhaps the most disappointing element of this double height ceiling, because remember, this is 13 and then you get 30 feet high. When you leave it all blank, to me, half of me says, you know what, you might as well just like close that off. The ceiling heights were great, 13 foot enough. Give me a landing area upstairs for a TV area where the family could hang out without coming downstairs.
So from the dining room, kitchen
is one of the best in the world. And you have double everything.
So one
and two
dishwashers. Look at
way too many people living with you. Double fridge.
Ooh, and even you got the brass. Like, I love the brass on the windows, brass on the fixtures.
Yes.
Gaggenau,
highest end. And you want to be the one to show that thing.
Oh yeah, so check this out. So these are also Gaggenau. And when you're paying $33 million, you just gotta touch to open. That's beautiful. It's almost like a dragon scale going up. This kitchen probably costs what, $3 million?
Okay, let's talk about the finishes and appliances. And first, about the hood. That is the only element that I see from that kind of Art Deco era which they've introduced. It's beautiful. I absolutely love it, but it's just all alone by itself. It's like hanging out over the stove, like lonely, right? Like you could have done so much more using the architectural elements of the property as inspiration for bringing a little life and energy. Now, the size of the kitchen is fantastic. The location of the kitchen is fantastic. It really connects well to the dining room, but it does not connect well to the family room or the formal living room because they're completely on the other side. Now, there's an easy fix, but before I tell you that fix, Gaggenau appliances are great. They're considered like the upper echelon, if not the best. But you got to be careful purchasing them because in some part of the world, just not enough people purchase them. So spare parts are minimum, right? It's sometimes better, let's say if you live in Japan or other parts of the world where they're not as popular as here in the United States or in Germany or in Europe, you might as well go with a more popular brand like Miele or other ones where you can find spare parts much more easier.
Another pocket door to keep people in or keep them out. And then this is, what would you call this, the den?
It's a den. It's you can use it as a bedroom, of course, but as a den, as an office space.
Yes, it is a den, and no, you should not turn this into a bedroom. In fact, there's a bedroom right behind this, and you should combine these two rooms to do what? Give this area an amazing family room that connects very naturally to what? To the kitchen area. And guess what? You've got that internal elevator, which I feel like you're going to actually use in this because that stairway, as nice as it was, it's really sharp and it really functions as a spiral staircase. It's a pretty dodgy staircase, as beautiful as it is. So I feel like for accessibility to going upstairs to the units, you're actually going to use this elevator quite often. And you have that central element of having, your kitchen next to your family room. Otherwise, you have to cross the dining room, cross the formal living space, go to all the way to the other corner to face away from the best view you have, which is the Central Park view, to watch TV. You can convert that area to an amazing junior primary suite on the lower floor with its own balcony, which has a lot of privacy at the same time, which you could also use as an office when you don't have guests.
Then if we keep going back this way, we're going to show you every inch of this place just because it is such an impressive apartment. This is actually a powder room here. And also, we want to point this out. So this mimics the architecture of the loggia of the building here. How cool is that on the vanity? So if you look at that drone shot again, this mimics that loggia on this marble vanity.
This is the other second element. Art Deco and like that era where this inspiration behind this, the whole Gaudi elements are pretty expressive, Like they're not really subtle. And you had all the space, you had all the volume, you had all the natural lights to play it off with it. And to me, it's a massive missed opportunity. You just get a really ugly outlet sticking out from the wall over here. That's what grabs my attention.
And then this is the first of the actually ensuite bedrooms. So here you have a corner unit, floor-to-ceiling glass windows, views of the East River, and then looking north right up 3rd Avenue. So back out into the main room, you can actually get that perspective now of how big 30-foot ceilings are in a New York City penthouse. And I like how, in a lot of apartments, or not apartments, in homes, like the staircase is like the centerpiece. It is. This is a statement here. This is a beautiful staircase.
I think it could have been a statement piece. I think it could have been much more beautiful if they actually used some decorative material or elements to really dress up this staircase and make it an element. But I don't even know if I would have taken it that route, because why would you want that to even compete with the view? And at the same time, have this really sharp angular element going up when it's not safe, when what you really needed over here was walls. You see, this is a very common problem in high-rises, penthouses, where you have that central core and then you have a wall glass on one side, which you can't really hang anything, and you have to open spaces connecting to open spaces going all around. What would have really made sense here is a staircase that takes a little bit length, a little bit width to go upstairs, to use it as a partition, to bring character, warmth, and spacing, a place where you can possibly hang some art, maybe a bookshelf, maybe a little storage, maybe a built-in bar, which would have really made this space a little bit more cozy. You always got to know what you have to fight against, okay? The one thing you have to fight against over here is the massive volumes, which is always a positive, right? And a lot of natural light, which could be overexposed. When you have too much of that, you got to go a little bit in the other direction to balance it and earth it and ground it down. And they just haven't, taken that opportunity over here.
Look at the window, almost 30 feet.
Look at the street down there, the perspective of the street in this apartment. That is wild. And then the top of that half moon window.
So we have a few more bedrooms and a few more bathrooms.
Should we see these first?
Let's see this first.
Yeah. We'll save the...
It's another ensuite.
Oh, wow.
I like the way it's connecting you to the elder space.
Yeah, so this would be, I guess, like the kids' room again. Wow. So like perfectly framed in here, you have the views downtown. I mean, you have Central Park, Billionaire's Row. The loggia connects all three of the bedrooms. So I'm gonna head in through the second one and then we'll then loop around. So all pretty decent size. This one doesn't have an ensuite bathroom. Leads to the connecting hallway. And then we meet Alex into the third one here from the loggia. And then if we pull back onto the hallway, these all share this bathroom at the end of this hallway.
Which is another major issue. They try to give equal sized bedrooms over here, and two of them end up not even having a Jack and Jill. I think a Jack and Jill setup for a bathroom gives you maximum amount of efficiency. There's a reason they do exist, because you can jigsaw the, closet spaces and the bathrooms in the middle, and it saves you a lot of space. And that's another element that they should have done and they haven't done over here.
Back out into the hallway here, you've got your elevator in the apartment connecting all three floors. And then we are back to where we started. Even from here on the balcony, you really have that view of Billionaire's Row right at the top half of this window. So now this is the like entry off the stairwell. Again, the elevator's connecting, and we are heading now into the owner's wing here in this futuristic $33 million penthouse. So off to the left here, just take a look at this. How serene is this? Floor to ceiling arched glass window with those brass accents, facing south, all the views to the south, southern Manhattan, with this beautiful bed here in the center. I also love the curvature of the walls.
Great placement for the primary suite. You get the double exposure, you get the privacy from the other bedrooms, you get the Billionaire's Row, and you get the Central Park. It has its own little balcony as well.
You even have the gas fireplace.
You have two of those.
Two of them in here? I mean, this is just exquisite. Even the perspective from this view here, you have the view of the reservoir with the El Dorado building reflecting in the reservoir. Like, this is a piece of art. This is a stunning home. And then what do we have over here? This is a...
So this is one of the best places, the bathroom. So everything's made out of the glass. And when you take this bath, make sure you have curtains if you want, because if you don't, everybody else is gonna see you.
I don't really agree with that, because you have a different elevation with a lot of the buildings around there. Remember, this is the penthouse at the tallest building in Upper East Side, and the other buildings are way too far out to really have a clean direct line of sight to come over. And these architectural elements also hide the interior experience. I actually think this unit has one of the best privacy scores out of any other high-rise penthouse in Manhattan.
Let me show you the shower place. You have this little pillar. Again, it's the same ceiling height, 14, close to 14.
The fixtures are all brass and they're built right into this travertine. So that's travertine on the floors, the walls, even the brass fixture coming out of the travertine. Like, this place is so unique. And then you have your vanity over here. And like Alex said, we're in golden hour. So like, you're getting the best lighting here. And if we pull back out into the closet space, we actually have a water closet off to the corner here, which we're not going to show that, but...
Where was the closet? Did you see that? The closet space for a $33 million or $24.7 million penthouse is really small. I really think they went bathroom heavy and closet light. And I think you should do the opposite, okay?
Above that first loggia, we have private outdoor space for the owner of this penthouse, with that view to the south here, and then you can really see the full height of that loggia looking down to the public outdoor space. It's such a unique perspective in the city to get these kind of views.
Okay, let's talk about the views, because they're definitely dynamic and unique. First and foremost, as he mentioned, you're the highest high-rise in Upper East Side, so there's nothing really around you. You get that space to get the perspective and that kind of depth of view where you see many different buildings at different heights, and you're not just crammed in by the view, okay? And the other element of it is that it's 270 degrees view, so it's very dynamic. You're going to get views from every single area in this property, which already has big windows and everything, which is really, really interesting. But I still would prefer a front row, Central Park view. I think that's just the way it frames it. It's cleaner. This is a little bit more busier. I'm still going to rate it very highly at the end of the video.
So from that view, you can see 30 feet. So we're at the very top of those 30-foot ceilings, heading to what I think is the best feature of this apartment. What do you think?
It's third floor. It's the highest one.
You have a powder room right off at the top of the staircase. Same finishes as all the other ones. I don't need to show this.
This powder room is actually critical because if you didn't have this powder room, you would have to take this crazy stairway all the way down to use the restroom in the bedroom floor, like the family floor, which would have been super inconvenient and annoying.
You sure want to see that? I've never seen it. Come on. So all this space is yours. I don't even know where to start, left or right.
Let's go right. 2 tables combined as one, 14 seats at this table. First off, listen. It is so quiet up here. It is so serene. You have views of everything. You're above the park, above all the chaos of Midtown, and you have so much space out here. Another gas fireplace, seating area over here, and then you have your views to the north. I mean, I'm sold.
Okay, the rooftop was massive, and it was that one element to make it a true penthouse because it was completely private to you. But to make things even better, it was naturally partitioned by the entrance to it to have a smaller section and a bigger section. That smaller section was completely gone to waste. I really think that would have been a perfect area for a sauna, for a cold plunge, for a little wellness section. Okay, let's give it an Arvin score. And if you're planning to remodel a penthouse or build your dream home and you're about to submit the plans to the city and commit 2-3 years of your life and millions of dollars on building this dream of yours, and you want to make sure your property will have the highest resale value, so when you decide to sell it one day, or if your kids decide to sell it one day, we'll have an amazing exit and it won't be a headache for the whole family. I would love to pressure test your designs based on my 10 principles, which I'm going to cover right now, and then give you 12 months of support throughout the construction where changes happen, things happen. I can help you through the finishes, the furnishing, and all the other stuff. I would love to be that resource to you. This is the QR code for the inner circle. Let's give it an Arvin score. Location. Look, Carnegie Hill, Upper East Side. It's a little busy here. I'm going to give it an 8.5. Amenities. Look, they've actually committed multiple floors. I want to say 6 or 8 floors of the whole building to the amenities section. But you don't get that swimming pool. But then at the same time, you have 48 units only, which is the less units, the better. I'm going to give it an 8. HOA. This is a big one. The HOA fee is really high already. And then when you add in the ridiculously high property taxes for penthouses like this, you're already at $20,000 a month before your even mortgage. And for that reason, I have to give it a 4. Privacy. This was perhaps one of the most private, if not the most private penthouse I've ever seen in Manhattan. It was so well spaced, no other building was cramming into you. And then, you look down on them and they never got a line of sight on you. You only had one neighbor below you, and it's a full service concierge building. I'm going to give it a 9.5. Unit orientation. You're east facing, you're south facing, you're west facing. Fantastic. It's exactly what you want. I'm going to give it a 10. Architectural style of the building. Look, I am so grateful. This is not another glass building, okay? And I salute them for it. But it just didn't connect really well with the rest of the building. It looked a little out of place. I'm still going to give it a 7.5. Views. Look, I'm going to give it a 9 and I'll tell you guys why. It was very dynamic. It was interactive. It had a lot of depth and character. You really wanted to engage with it. You even saw Central Park. But to me, a front row Central Park view is always going to be better. And for that reason, it's going to get a 9. Layout. This should have been a 10 and they screwed it up. Look, they had the wow factor when you walked in. You have the right bedroom distribution. Yes, you didn't configure them right, but you still had the right count. And then you had outdoor space for ages. I mean, you had a rooftop, but beyond that, you had so many other terraces on every single floor, more than a brownstone townhouse in Brooklyn. It was really, really good. And they managed to not give us that family room. But overall, still a fantastic unit. I'm going to give it another 8. Scale and volume. For a penthouse, the ceiling heights were amazing. And most of the rooms were very proportioned. They screwed up a couple areas in the secondary bedrooms, but I think that was it. For that reason, I'm going to give it a 9. Finishes. This is perhaps the most disappointing part because it was in the developers or the interior designer's hand and they just didn't go all the way with it. They played it so safe. There are not that many building or high rises or penthouses that have this character. I really wish they would have taken it a little bit farther, given it a little bit more character to the place because the volumes could have, absorbed darker colors, darker elements, a little bit more color, a little bit more texture, and just they didn't do anything. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a 6. Now, this is the Arvin score, and this is the Formula One Monaco property, which you probably missed because it got a copyright strike, and I fought it and I won it for you guys. Thanks for watching. If you want to join the inner circle, click over here. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the comments. Have a good one.